Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm a lost night owl, but please call me Mel. Today, we're gonna talk about the 5 things I've learned during my Saturn return. So grab a lantern and let's go. So what is a Saturn return? Well, Saturn itself takes about 27 to 30 years to go through the entire zodiac. And the return itself lasts about 3 years, depending on how fast Saturn's moving. And during this time, it ushers in transition. Usually this occurs as you're approaching your 30s, your 60s, and your 90s. We do not like change as people, so transition is not always comfortable. A lot of people report that Saturn returns are a really tough time. So if you're like me and your Saturn return is in Pisces, which means it started on March in 2023 and it's gonna end in February 2026, we're roughing it, but we're gonna rough it together. For me, I'm pagan, so 2023 was the first year that I actually felt the energies changed, that something actually lifted and things were gonna be lighter. Or so I thought. And then once the Saturn return actually started, the first thing I learned with Hecate was understand systems. Now my default, even though I won't always explicitly say it, is understand the systems of repression so you know how to dismantle them. That will always be my default. If that makes you uncomfortable, goodbye, good riddance. Now, continuing on. It's that, but it's also understanding your internal systems. Because systems are easier to manage compared to goals. You can accidentally make a goal that's too big, and then you'll beat yourself up because you didn't reach the goal. So when you make a system, it invites trial and error. You're gonna allow yourself to figure out what actually works for you, how you can put in a system of checks and balances for yourself. Like, how do you know when you're doing well? How do you know when you're doing so-so? So Hecate herself kind of got me into this routine of doing things during the new and the full moon. It was a bumpy start. Sometimes I would forget, and it was just getting back up and trying again. But also understanding how the systems outside of me are not serving me and how I can best serve myself and make up for that. It sucks, we need to build community around that, but it still exists. The second lesson during my Saturn return was knowing when to change perspective. At this point, the second year Hades was starting to be more in my life. He was starting to take all the stuff that Hecate helped dismantle and was like, okay, it's time to learn. You want to change the systems? Healing starts with you. So we need to make sure you're okay before you start going out there and doing what you need to, which is true, not easy. So where does changing perspective fall into all this? Well, changing perspective happens when you're looking at a problem and you need to ensure the right lens is applied. Because some problems you need spirituality. Some problems you need a therapist. Other problems, you need a doctor, you need to figure out what's going on. So understanding what lens to apply to a problem. As I was trying and failing through all this, the third lesson that came up was being present. Learning to listen to my body, understand what my intuition is saying, understanding when my body's yelling at me and what is it yelling for. Because I was always so up here, I didn't allow myself to actually be present. I was stuck in my thoughts, stuck in rumination, but I wasn't allowing myself to feel the feelings. So learning to be present so you can actually see what's going on and not be too stuck in the past or too stuck in the future, that you can actually handle what's in front of you and react accordingly. The most important lesson that Hades taught me is understand the seasons of life. If you don't know your own seasons, it can be tough. Either you do too little or too much. If you're like me, you're gonna try to do everything and not respect the fact that life has seasons. There are times for reflections, there's times where you need to move forward, and there are times when you just need to rest and recharge and you need to listen to that. Otherwise, your body will do it for you. Which brings us to the last lesson. And this was the hardest one for me to learn. I'm still learning it, I still fight it, is surrender. We all operate at different vibrations. Some of us are more divine movement, and some of us are more divine magnetism. And if you haven't heard me use those terms before, divine movement is my way of saying divine masculine. Divine magnetism is my way of saying divine feminine. There are times when we need to sit back and allow ourselves to be inspired and allow the path to come to us. And there are times when we need to make our own path and move forward and move, and whatever is called of us. But the main important thing is balance. You need to know when those moments are for you. And I need to know when those moments are for me. There were times I was moving when I should have been waiting. And when I was exhausted, that's when the answer showed up. You know, I was fighting my way out of a paper bag, essentially. So the last lesson is surrender. Trust yourself. You've gotten yourself this far. You can get yourself further. And I hope you find the community to do so. I'm still figuring this all out. Hopefully you'll see more videos from me, but honestly, hit the bell icon because I still don't know what I'm doing. So if you're up to stay on this journey with me, thank you.